Hey, how's it going? I almost forgot that I wanted to do this before I went to sleep tonight. And so, hi, here I am. Um, I had some cards that I had pulled out, but I just felt like, boy, everything is just heavy right now. Everything is like a panic and outrage and aren't you exhausted? I'm kind of exhausted. So I pulled out my wine core cards, and usually when I think of these cards, I have like women who drink wine from boxes kind of vibe going on. And I don't know what that might mean to you. Like, I have polished off many a box all by myself, even not all in one sitting, but like a major chunk in one sitting. But it's sort of just like, it's not a pejorative. It's like women that get buzzed and sitting around just talking, and that can get raunchy and funny and loud and political or whatever. But usually the goal is to have fun. And you might think of like what is that show on E with the housewives? Or not E, Bravo. Well, the housewives of your house or whatever, your neighborhood. But then today when I pulled them out, and I had all this in mind, like making a decision not to do what I was just gonna kind of automatically do, because like I have a sort of schedule. And anyway, I was like, I think I don't want to do that. I think I just want to keep it kind of light for a change. Yeah, for a change. So, okay, and then I went to pull these out today, and they're not the wine core cards. That's not what the deck is called. Hold on, I'm getting the box. They are actually called that. Inner Fucking Peace. That is the name of the deck. Okay. So, anyway, when I pulled the deck out, AbFab came to mind. And AbFab is short for Absolutely Fabulous, which was a British sitcom with these two women that were, well, they drank. But it was hilarious. And so you can probably find it to watch pretty easily. But Absolutely Fabulous, I guess it was on the BBC. Look it up if you haven't seen it. It is hilarious. Or you may hate it, but that's on you. So anyway, I got these other cards, but it's not like I haven't had stuff on my mind that I guess it just hasn't really congealed into something enough that I want to like bring it up to talk about. But I know that I noticed some interesting connections, or like things that kept repeating. And one of them was driving up and running into a traffic jam and not expecting it and not really even seeing it till almost the last minute. And so it just kept that scene kept repeating. So I'm watching that spy show on Amazon called Citadel, and that was a scene that happened in it where that whole thing is about chasing and hiding and fighting and running and hiding and fighting. So this was we just got done, but we're still firing at each other, chasing and running scene, car chase scene. And it's very spontaneous, so you have no time to like scope out where you're going, the plan, and they drive high speed into a giant traffic jam, and they can't really go anywhere. And so more fighting and shooting ensues. What a surprise! And then I saw another show where it happened, and then a couple of weeks before that, I had been watching Ozark, and the same thing happened, but different outcome with that particular traffic jam. They stayed on scene and had problems there. The other show, I think I saw one other show where the same thing happened, which is not unusual in the context of any of those individually, but to see them all in the space of more than half of them in one day and then a couple more the next day, that's an unusual occurrence of the same thing showing itself to you. So I tend to take notice, what's that about? Hold on, I think I'm eating hair. Yeah, so what's that about? I don't know yet. I haven't really figured it out. And then there was something else that kept repeating as well. That as soon as I started to talk about it and it said that I was going to talk about that thing, it slipped my mind. It flew away and ran off. But, I guess the point is just still keeping an eye on and open for things like repeating events or patterns or just something that your mind is oh, I'm particularly noticing that. That's usually why it's happening, to get you to take note of it or to notice something. And I know most of my life when that would happen, I was in a completely other mindset about it all. I would just be oh, that's weird. Why does that keep happening? And that would be the extent of it. I would never, I don't know why, but I would never investigate further. That seems kind of weird. Okay, so I'm just trying to make sure I have talked about things I wanted to talk about. I really didn't have much going, honestly. I have to say, I guess I wanted to talk about something happened last night, which would have been Friday night. What is today? Oh, so it would have been the 15th was Friday, yesterday. Something happened overnight, I guess, and I'm not sure what it was. I know that I just was every once in a while you get to a point where you're okay, I've done all I can do with this, with this level of the game. I guess I'm just gonna be over here waiting for the minutes to run out or whatever it is, but you just, it's a feeling of completion, I've done all I can do here, and you're just kind of waiting for the next thing to happen. And I think that's how I felt, but you usually feel that way, something happened, something notable came to pass. Don't know what that was about either yet. I'll get back to you, I suppose. So anyway, let me just go ahead and read these cards. I'm kind of putting it off because they're kooky. Okay, so the first one says activate. Pull mantra. I don't know what that means. Activate pull mantra. Is that pull lever? Sorry. Okay, other interpretation. Activate purr mantra. Makes more sense because it does look like P-U-R-R a little bit too, more, because that's what it actually says. Activate purr mantra. Mantra. Nirvana. The power of meow. It is Catterday, coincidentally, and I have been enjoying the power of meows all day. Mine, video cats, it's Catterday, but every day is Catterday for me. It's enjoyable. Cats are soothing. Also, other animals are, baby whatevers, dogs, lambs, cats, frogs, lizards, fish. The little ones are just cute. And they make you talk to them in a baby voice. And I don't know, is that what purr activation looks like? You can't talk in a normal adult voice. Okay, so the next card is Cultivate Inner Buddy. It's spelled sort of like Buddha, but instead of an A at the end, it's a Y. So, cultivate inner booty. Let's see what the other side says. Have a beautiful day. It really says that. So I guess it's cultivate booty, inner booty. So dumb. When I said I wanted to lighten up. Okay, so the next. Give me a minute. Okay, so the next one says, cheers to enjoying life. You're welcome. Chop wood, carry vodka. Okay. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be such a dud. I'm not really into drinking anymore. But get a couple of drinks in me. Like I said, I've polished off some boxes of wine. Okay, so the next one, it says, good grief, don't take things personally. I'm not even going to go there. Let's see what the other side says. It's not all about you. Well, sometimes it is, and today it is. What I was going to say that I chose not to, I just don't want to go into like the heavy side of things, but the advice to not take things personally, or to sort of make known that something is going on that you shouldn't take personally, even though it is happening to you, is something that I mention all the time in my writing and in my videos. Like, I have said it recently a lot, it's not personal, because things that are happening to us are partly of our own design, but not entirely. But that is also part of the design, I think, is like, you do your part, everyone else does theirs. And we know, I mean, I've talked about it a lot. It's not always going to be enjoyable. It's not always going to be fun. But the thing is, it's like, don't take it personally, because it's like you're in an amusement park and the ride is your life in this body, and eventually the ride's going to end, and from this perspective, yes, oh my gosh, you're going to have X's for eyes, but really, you're just getting off the ride. You're going to exit this whole veneer and move on to something else in your real form. Ooh, weirdo stuff. But, so, I mean, through that lens, whatever happens is kind of like whatever, and just like on a roller coaster that you're going to get off of, you can be at the top of a hill, and if you don't like roller coasters like me, you know what's coming, and that's the part you don't like. The big old drop and off the hill, and I don't even want to go there with bad roller coaster thoughts, but you can figure that out on your own. But keeping it light, even if something like that were to happen, if you were to reluctantly ride a roller coaster, in all likelihood, you're going to either go out all the way or you're going to get busted up and then you're going to be in the hospital and you're either going to get better or you're going to have a new type of life to experience. And you might say, oh my God, that's a tragedy. Like, you're going to feel like you've lost so much. But one thing I've learned about the process of the illnesses and things that ended me up in a wheelchair is you learn to appreciate things that you were not appreciating when you were able, because your whole everything, it's hard to explain, but your whole everything was different, you know. Not just my perspective is different, and not just from this seated position in a mobility device. It's that I'm physically not the person that I was before I got ill, and it's different for everyone. And you know, the degree of whatever kind of, like, abruptly, or maybe not so abruptly, maybe it took a long time for some ailment to change your whole life, but boy, that's sure what happens when an illness hits you. You know, like if you have a broken leg, you know you're going to be out for a while, but you also know you're going to recover from it. And so it's not like, it's easier to just sort of experience as, ooh, wow, like this is a totally new thing. And, you know, if you're a kid, I don't have to go to school, you know, like stuff like that. But when you're an adult, you have those same sort of changes, but I'd say they're like deeper changes, and they have more going on with people as an adult than when you're a child. You have fewer concerns and responsibilities, I guess you could say. And so, and expansion, although I take back that last one, because I think as a child, you can experience a lot more expansion in the way that I was just kind of thinking of and referring to without really explaining. So, one thing I learned about, like, having my physicality changed and circumstances other than my mobility issues or whatever, that I'm just sort of in one place, not really doing much of anything, and rarely is there a rush on anything, as opposed to when I was able and I had a job and also maybe in a band, and so you had to be places at certain times and do all kinds of stuff in order to achieve the blah, to do the blah, like the this to do the that. And I still have those things. Like, I have responsibilities like that still, but I'm just not chasing around and running. And, I mean, I sort of keep track of what day it is, but not really, unless I know I have an appointment. And that's a whole different mental landscape, and it took some getting used to. I always wanted it, you know, but I never thought that I would, like, have my life slow down. I mean, I'm basically retired since I have gotten sick like this. And so, it's just very different, but it took a long time for me to realize a lot of things. Maybe I'm slow, but once you do start to, like, adjust to a change like that, at some point, you're gonna start liking things about it and going, oh, whoa, like, I never really appreciated this before because I was too bugged out to slow down and look at something that's, like, pretty much always been right in front of you in a way. Like, I'm not referring to any specific thing, but many things apply to this, and they literally throughout your life, throughout your day, pass right before your very eyes. And one way you look at something, sometimes in order for you to know that there are other ways to look at it, needs to be more than intellectual. For you to really see and understand what I'm talking about, sometimes something severe has to happen to disrupt and upset your paradigm. And it happens, and that is personal. That does happen to us personally. But I think demonstrably it's happening like collectively to American society. Things are changing, and we haven't really adjusted to anything because it's still happening. And it's like a kind of a slow roll, and not everybody is in on the roll all at the same time. Like some are on the leading edge, and some sort of catch up in the middle and are like kind of the momentum to drag whatever is not in the middle and sort of holding back and resisting or just straggling for whatever reason. And like just whoever, there's always people that need to catch up. So it's not instantaneous. We want things to be instantaneous. We don't like things to be incremental. Like, I can't stand that. Unfortunately, when you think about it, that's kind of just the way it is. Unless something drastic, like some kind of emergency happens, and then a lot of things happen all at once. And that's what I've been talking about. Like, say, you're the person, like, maybe you weren't in, like, a car accident, or maybe you were. Like, my thing is illness-related, but a lot of the physical stuff could be attributed to some kind of accident, physical car accident, whatever. Regardless, it's an interruption from what you were doing previously and what you are probably completely habituated to doing and feeling and being. And this is like, there could be a lot of reasons for this, but sometimes life necessitates you to move into a different phase more quickly than you're moving yourself into it. And I think that's why we get ill, like seriously ill, or in an accident or something, like something we're not paying attention to. We need to have all of the distractions removed so that we have periods of quiet, meditative time to work through what happened. And then when that's over, or simultaneously, we begin to address things that we've sort of compartmentalized and not dealt with, and not sort of like performed as promised in our sort of pre-birth, in our pre-birth contractual agreements to what we are here to do with the life that we are currently inhabiting. Didn't know I was gonna go there. Anyway, so, gosh, what the hell, man? That's it. I just, I guess I just need to do this today. Let me let you look at my signs, because they're not really fully visible very well, but that's just my sort of disclaimer material. This is opinion commentary for your entertainment. It's not personal. Don't take it so seriously. Thank you and good night.